Thank you, everyone, for joining tonight's Golden Speakers meeting. It is September 15th, 2020. We are at our regular Tuesday meeting at 7:45 p.m. on Zoom until further notice. Our club mission. As with all Toastmasters clubs, our mission is to provide a supportive and positive learning experience in which members are empowered to develop communication and leadership skills, resulting in greater self-confidence and personal growth. Let's hear it for our mission. I see that we have a guest tonight, an old member of ours, Jyoti Raj. Thank you for joining us, Jyoti.
Thank you.
I believe Bob's the only person you haven't met, but just if you don't mind introducing yourself and just kind of talking about what brings you back with us.
Fellow Toastmasters, I've been a member of Toastmasters for a long time, and because of my other engagements, or we had a baby and I have to be helping my wife for so many things, so I couldn't join, but now he is 15 months old and we can take care of him. She can take care of him, and I can also, so I have some time to do this, but I have to do some arrangements for that, and we are doing that. So I'll be back pretty soon. I mean, I'll join from this session, so I'm back to Toastmaster. Thank you. I love to be there, and I love to be part of Toastmaster. Always.
Yeah, and we love to have you, so thank you very much.
Thank you.
Moving right along, I'd like to pass off the meeting responsibility onto our Toastmaster for the evening to move on to our role players for tonight. And that Toastmaster is Carmen Anticona. Take it away, Carmen.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm just going to get over the roles for tonight. I am the timer. We are gonna have table topics, which are going to be 1 to 2 minutes. I'm just going to have, I'm just checking. Okay. And just it's at 1 minute, it's gonna be green. At 1 minute and 30, it's gonna be yellow. I know my face is bad, but
it's trippy.
Nobody cares about that face. The color is important. At 2 minutes, it's gonna be red, and we are having 30 seconds to wrap up. For the evaluators, we are having the evaluation from 2 to 3 minutes. At 2, it will be green. At 2:30, it will be yellow. And at 3, it will be red. And there is also 30 seconds to wrap up.
Okay, is that it?
Yes. And then I'm just going to hand it over to our grammarian for today, Jean Symington Craig.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. Tonight I have 2 aspects of my grammarian role. One is to introduce the word of the day, which I have put in the chat box. The word of the day is ingratiate. It means to bring oneself into favor with someone by flattering or trying to please them. So it has a little bit of a negative connotation. The sentence, he tried to ingratiate himself with the teacher in order to improve his grade by giving her an apple. I feel like, dude, up your game a little bit. An apple? Jeepers. Okay, so I will be looking for usages of that word throughout the evening. My second role is to, or aspect of the grammarian role, is to note creative usages of language. Particularly, I like vocabulary, words that are above and beyond the normal, and then also possible grammatical or vocabulary that could use a little improvement, in my opinion. And I'll be giving a report at the end of the meeting.
Thank you, Jean. Our accountant for tonight is Dan Craig. Let's welcome Dan.
Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, my role as counter tonight is to keep track of filler words in all of the speaking that is done. Things like well, so, like, but, or any specialized filler words somebody may come up with. I'll keep track of those, and I'll try to give a complete report at the end of the meeting. I won't be trying to ingratiate myself by going easy on anybody. This will be the tough love counter. Thank you.
Thank you, Dan. Our general evaluator is Aaron, and we will hear from him later on. And our joke master is Jean. There is one prepared speech for tonight, and I will hand it over to Aaron.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. As we've been doing over the last few weeks, we will be watching another one of these speeches from the International Speech Contest that Toastmasters had a few weeks ago. I believe Dan has the video pulled up, and so the plan is to watch the video and essentially treat it as a small speech evaluation. I believe we've been doing 1 to 2 minutes, just like table topics, and our timer keep track of time, and just give our individual thoughts and opinions on the speech. And as usual, try to find both positive and room for improvement in the speech. Jean, it looked like you had something to say.
Yeah, I just wanted to, it hit me that this is a different kind of evaluation exercise than what we do when we have someone giving a prepared speech and comparing objectives with the actual performance. This is what could be called a general evaluation. And so just to give a little bit of structure, a way to go about it is to look at the content. So how it was organized, does it flow? Are the transitions there? Are the points clear? Is there an opening, a body, and conclusion? So that content. And then secondly would be the delivery. So that would be, how was it delivered? Are there body gestures, facial expressions, vocal variety? So those are two main categories that you can use to look and see how to evaluate a general speech. Of course, always looking for, in those categories, things that you can suggest for improvement. Even with these top level people, there's usually something that can be done. Just wanted to say that part.
Thank you, Jean. With that, I think we can move on to the video. Dan, if you want to share your screen.
Linda Marie Miller, pretending not to know. Pretending not to know, Linda Marie Miller.
If you're ready to change the world, but you don't know how, I have the key. It's just a question, but it's the most powerful question in the world. The question is, what are you pretending not to know? That question changed my life. What was I pretending not to know? I find out when I helped my friend Tony and his son Michael. Michael was not your typical teenager. Once, he convinced his father to let him bring a homeless boy into their house. Michael shared everything with that young man and gave up his own bed until that boy got back on his feet. In college, Michael excelled. As a freshman, he tutored seniors in chemistry. He loved science. He loved science so much, he enrolled his professors and fellow classmates into assisting him as he delivered a science experiment for blind children so that they could experience the love of science that he had. Michael was the whole package. A brilliant mind, a caring heart, a dutiful son. And Tony was so proud. Then the phone call came. Michael is dead. Hit by a car 600 miles from home on a college field trip. I jumped into action to help my friend Tony, who was too grief-stricken to even think about bringing Michael's body home or planning a funeral. I phoned the hospital, who told me Michael's body would not be released until testing was completed. Testing for drugs, testing for alcohol. The police department was called for a copy of the police report. Had the driver been drinking, speeding, talking on their phone? The police said they talked to the woman that hit Michael, and she said she hadn't been drinking or speeding. They had no reason to doubt her. Using Tony's Airbnb account, I logged on to seek accommodations for the many family and friends that would be arriving for the funeral. None of the reservations were accepted. Thinking there must be something wrong with Tony's account, I logged on using my Airbnb account, and the exact same properties were immediately accepted. What do you think's going on? How could this be? This is my friend Tony. I've been pretending not to know that I am a blonde-haired, blue-eyed, pale-skinned beneficiary of a system controlled by people that look like me. I live a life of white privilege, while Tony has trouble seeking accommodations for his grieving family members. I live a life of white privilege, while this amazing young boy on his way to medical school is profiled even after his death, suspected of drug use or being up to no good for simply crossing the street. This amazing young man who once brought a homeless boy into his house, a white homeless boy, his death dismissed based on the color of his skin. The white woman that killed Michael wasn't tested for drugs or alcohol. She wasn't even suspected of speeding, even though she had a long history of speeding tickets. The more I thought about it, the angrier I became. This is discrimination. This is racism. I was comforted by the fact that I am not a racist. I have never discriminated against anyone. In my career, I have hired many amazing Black people. When my son was young, his best friend was Black. Hey, I live in a very diverse neighborhood. All my neighbors are Black, and they like me. I have never used a racial slur or told a racial joke in my entire life. I've been pretending not to know that I am the problem. I remained silent when I saw racism in my family for fear of being disinherited. I remained silent when I saw racism at work for fear of not being promoted. I always blamed it on a broken system, but guess what? The system is working exactly the way it was designed to. In exchange for my silence, the system has made sure I don't have to worry about anything. I don't worry about someone wanting to harm my son. I don't worry about being discriminated against at work. I don't worry about being watched by security guards when I go shopping. And I don't have to worry about being shot if I am stopped by the police. My silence has benefited me at the expense of others, and I will remain silent no more. I now use my voice as an ally for and with people of color. I am committed to helping create a system that works for everyone, not just people that look like me. Look around. Look around at the world today. Don't you agree it's in need of a little change? Fellow Toastmasters, you have the most powerful voices on the planet. Commit right here and now to create the change that you want to see in the world. Let's create a world where there's no race but the human race, one shared humanity. All it takes is finding your truth. And all that takes is one powerful question. So go ahead, ask yourself. Madam Contest Chair.
1 minute of silence for the judges, please.
Pretty powerful stuff.
Mhm.
Okay, well, in the past, let's see, or we went by last names, we went by first names.
Why don't you just pick people?
Okay,
No, it's more fun, Dan, to have the
Have a system?
have the horror of watching the arrow land on you first.
Okay.
What
Well,
about middle names? What
Yeah,
about
middle names.
alphabetical
How about
middle
middle
names, A to Z? And because we don't know everybody's middle name, so
That'll only take 20 minutes to organize.
okay. So A,
Bio poster perfect.
Wait,
Dan, stop it.
so
Bio.
stop that.
Okay, so I know Dan is an A. So is anyone else an A? Middle initial?
Mine's R, Robert.
Art, your middle name starts with an A?
Yeah, Arnold.
Oh,
You go before me. I'm
so
Austin.
Art starts.
Fellow Toastmasters, when I first saw this speech being given live, I thought this is going to be one of the winning three. The woman had powerful material, a personal story. She told it well. She used her props very powerfully by being silent while she showed them to us. She had appropriate hand gestures, and she had a modest way, not highly creative, but a modest and effective way of using the Zoom format. She had a facial expression with her lip curled up. She looked disgusted at one point in the speech. I thought it was a winning speech, and in some respects was better than others which placed higher. I respected the speaker for her transparency and her willingness to reveal her own shortcomings and her decision to take action, becoming a voice for people of color. thought that was a courageous thing to do in the international speech competition. Thank you for asking.
Dan? Unless someone else is an A. Guessing not.
Nope.
Probably me. I would agree that the message that she delivered was really quite powerful, very timely. The thing that impressed me the most about her delivery was that at certain points she genuinely displayed a lot of emotion. With a crack in her voice, you could tell she was really upset as she was saying these things. She wasn't acting. The one piece that I would suggest that she work on if she gave the speech again would be gestures. When she started the speech, she gave some nice, big, expansive gestures. And I thought, oh, this is really good, very smooth. And then she had about 30 seconds of gestures that were just so awkward. It was making me cringe. She had this little one scene where she was saying, what was it? A brilliant mind, a loving, a caring heart. I was just going, ow, this is really terrible.
Very forced.
But that was really my only objection. I thought the organization of her speech was good. After that point, I thought the delivery was really good. I was really quite impressed by her use of the placards to show her subconscious mind in contradiction to the things that she was used to repeating to herself. So quite impressive talk.
All right, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, we're looking for middle names now, J, that's right. I remember your signature, Aaron J.
Yeah. I think, in my opinion, the most powerful moment of this entire speech for me was when she flips up that first card and says, and shows this is the picture of her friend, because she does a great job with this build-up, and I think that is, in my opinion, what really cinched this speech for me and made me rank it so high amongst the others, is that she builds up this story that it's like, well, this doesn't even make any sense. You know, why this kid got hit by a car and now they're testing him for drugs? This doesn't make any sense. And then all of a sudden she flips the card over and it's just, it hits you like a brick. It's like, this is the society that we live in, unfortunately. You know, and she does such a great job of just like making you feel that emotion so real, and it just boils my blood. And I think it's been touched on before, but she does a great job with those props overall. So flipping, you know, she says one thing, well, I'm a completely innocent person, and then she flips over that card that her like pretending not to speak up when people say racist things, or not inviting people of color into her house. And these are all things that I know I'm guilty of, and I'm sure many of us are as well, that it's like, these are things that are contributing towards the society that we live in, even if we don't think about it. And I agree with Dan. I actually wrote down that too. Those hand gestures that she used at the beginning were very, very forced, and that took away from the speech at the beginning. I think she had a few moments at the beginning, like when she mentions that Tony is dead. I don't think there wasn't enough of a tonal shift in that it hit as hard as I think it could have. I think there was some maybe jitters at the beginning, but overall, her speech was definitely one of my favorites.
A, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R.
Me.
Wow, we've got, and then Jyoti Raj.
Yeah.
Are you an R2?
Arya.
Okay, so we have an RA. Carmen, what's yours?
It's Rosa, like
R-
Rose.
RO? Is it RO?
Yes.
Rosa.
Okay, and then what is Bob's?
Robert.
Robert.
Okay, so
Isn't Bob
Jyoti,
Isn't Bob
Jyoti,
short for Robert?
Because my real name is Kenneth.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
okay, so he goes by his middle name. All right, so we're gonna go Jyoti Raj, Bob, and then Carmen. Okay.
Hello, Toastmasters. It was a great speech. It was like so emotional and so convincing. I mean, it's really like, okay, I'll do something after listening to this speech. There is some message there. It's very timely and very relevant. And she has a very good gestures. She has a good, very clear tone and speech. But one thing I want to say that if she would have used more gestures or even little bits of stage, like she didn't move. I didn't see her moving here and there. She was just standing in one place. And as Dan and Aaron pointed, in the beginning there was little awkward gestures, which I thought, what's she gonna say now next? Hard and this and what next? So that was little odd, but overall it was a fabulous, very, very nice speech. And this is a winning speech, I'll say, and she did a great job. Yeah, thank you.
Okay. All right. Bob.
Yeah. As everyone said, it's been a great speech. The one thing I thought what I could have added to it, because I speak with emotion a lot, it would have been kind of interesting, although it's been said, you know, she didn't have much emotion when she first started. It sounded like kind of a canned speech, like she practiced, which I've been guilty of that, and I don't have the emotion to go with it. But what would have been kind of fascinating is if she would have said, there is an accident tonight, and there's a man dead. Pause. And then lead into the story that we just heard. The cops think he's on drugs, but come to find out, it was the cops had the wrong idea about this gentleman, and then lead into his life. You know, who are we talking about? We're talking about this guy, and look at, he's on his road to success. He's doing all these great things. It could be him. It could be him. And it could have shined the light back on the police, how they made the major mistake, and we couldn't be talking about the same gentleman that are friends laying dead on the road. And I agree with the cards. That was a great idea because it spoke and it made me think as an individual, have I been guilty of these things? I think everybody, no matter what color you are, you're all guilty, or we're all guilty at one point or another. But what it's doing for me now is I'm more self-conscious of it, just like she's self-conscious of it. I'm a businessman. I want to hire whoever wants to come to work. And so my opinion is I'm not racist in that matter. It doesn't really matter who you are, what you do, as long as you experience work hard. So I look forward now more than I have in the past to have people of color come work for me. And she is brought to light to me. Thank you for the speech.
Okay. I think that leaves me.
Wait, what about Carmen?
Carmen.
Okay.
Oh, sorry. Yes.
Uh,
Three
so-
R's.
Could someone time for me, please?
1 to 2 minutes.
Yes.
I can do that, Carmen.
Thank
But
you.
I'm just gonna have to go green because my background doesn't work.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, I can time myself too. I think I can time.
Well, I'm sorry.
Okay, I will time it anyways. I can time.
Okay.
But I'm not gonna put my face in green. All right, so this speech, it was very powerful, and the topic was discrimination and racism, which is very, very powerful in these moments because of all this Black Lives Matter going on in many cities. My suggestions could be, I don't know if it's required, but she didn't greet the audience. I would like to see more hand movements because she was just in one set. She didn't use the space. And sometimes she went too fast. I didn't even understand very well what she was saying. And then with more pauses, I think it will be better understanding of the whole content. But at the end, it was a very powerful message and it was a great speech. Thank you.
Okay.
Jean.
Thank you, fellow Toastmasters and viewers at home. I found her speech very powerful, so I'll first address the content. I think I liked the way she did her content, although it was interesting what Bob said about perhaps having a more compelling hook right as the first sentence out of the gate that would capture the audience more immediately. But I found her delivery a little bit lacking in terms of the body language, which we're all talking about. I think she could have incorporated, her body just seemed stiff to me. And I think she could have actually, with just a little more effort, even though she has a very serious topic and it's not funny, that she could move a bit more, particularly at the beginning as she was laying out the story about Michael and bringing someone home and just all of the qualities of that young man. I thought her use of the placards was excellent. And I'm not just trying to ingratiate myself here with the group. I truly believe she had a really good use of that. She did almost drop one kind of slipped. So I would say she needed a little more solidity on her placards. But I think her message is what was so powerful. And so I'd say if she were going to do it again, if she could just maybe take some deep breaths and get her arms loosened up and her torso loosened up, maybe get a little more involved in the startup to the story. And then when she holds up the picture of her friend Tony, then she could be getting actually more solemn and still and let the placards be her gestures. She also, I felt like her vocal variety could have been a little bit more, although she did get into it towards the end as she was very angry and like that. But so that would be my comment. Basically gestures, a little looser in the body, fantastic content. Okay.
All right, well, thank you everyone for taking part in this exercise. I believe for the next few weeks we'll have actual prepared speeches, so I think this will be the last time that we do this, at least for a while. But I thought that this exercise went really well. I think it's a great opportunity for us to learn from the best of the best. And through this evaluation format, you know, even realizing that the best speakers in the world have room for improvement. And being able to notice that can help us notice it in ourselves. Yes, Art. Oh, you're muted.
I have a question. How many people besides me realized when the first picture of Tony came up that I had been picturing Michael as a white boy for the whole time until Tony's picture came up? How many,
Yeah,
how many
I
other
definitely
people
did.
had that realization?
I started to suspect as soon as when she started saying she couldn't get any Airbnbs, you know, they were all closed. When I heard that, I went, uh-oh. And then when she did the test and did it for her, you know, using her account, that's when I knew. I felt like that was a pretty big giveaway.
I realized right at that point when Tony's picture came up, I didn't catch the Airbnb clue, but I realized that my assumption that he was white was the sign of my participation in the system.
Mm-hmm.
I was just curious if anybody else had that experience.
Yeah, I had that experience as well, Art.
I think that's a powerful part of that speech.
Well, honestly, it's similar to when people say, well, the doctor, is he in? When, you know, it's a female. I mean, it happens all the time, you know, and if the female doctor, you know, walks in and, you know, relatives are there saying, oh, I'm so glad you're here. When will the doctor be here? You know, stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's these assumptions that people have about, but yes, I agree that, I mean, it was meant to be a shocker, I think.
Yep.
Because I think probably a lot of people were thinking this person was, you know, was white, default.
Definitely starts a conversation.
Mm-hmm.
I think we need to move on to table topics at this point. I believe our table topics master for this evening is Bob Fogel. Bob, could you take it away for us?
Yes, thank you, Aaron. Well, I am the table topics master, and this evening's topic is about harvest. So I'm going to attempt to, if I can get the word out, ingratiate. I'm going to attempt to ingratiate everyone with my witty questions.
Yes.
Okay. So who would like to step up first? I have 1 through 7.
Oh.
I'm going. I have to evaluate them, so I'll get this out of the way.
Okay, Art. Which number would you like? 1 through 1?
Make it easy.
Okay, I'll make it easy. They say a leopard can't change the spots. Do you believe this, or do you believe, like the band Led Zeppelin, Stairway to Heaven, there's always time to change the road you're on?
Thank you, Mr. Table Topics Master. This is a multifaceted question you've posed. Leopards, Led Zeppelin, finding common ground and all of that is pretty challenging. And to boot, finding where this overlaps with harvest.
Yeah.
I've been marinating my brain in harvest. And decided to talk about what a miserable garden pestered by squirrels can produce. The Stairway to Heaven is arguably one of the greatest pieces of music written in the 20th century, and it covers medieval recorder consort and heavy metal guitar solos. It's just an incredible creation. But I didn't realize that until I was over 65 years of age and listened to it enough. Before that, I was preoccupied with other kinds of music. And I was preoccupied in addition with creating a garden in this yard, which is located a block away from a deer sanctuary called Chautauqua Park, which makes it very challenging to grow something, even stuff that deer do not like to eat, they will eat when there's nothing else to eat. So we have learned by bitter experience that squirrels, rabbits, and deer in a garden a block away from a wildlife sanctuary is a tough road to hoe. I hope I didn't ingratiate myself to the squirrels. Thank you for the question.
Thank you, Mark. Just to clarify how that came in harvest, it simply was because we all have a harvest where we are today. And so your harvest, can you change your harvest like Led Zeppelin, or are you stuck like a leopard can't change his spots? That's why harvest came into play, just to clarify that. Yeah. My next person, please. We got 2 through 7. Yes, Jean.
2.
2. It's been said, an apple doesn't fall far from the tree. It's typically a negative saying, but can you share of a positive outcome that developed from your offspring or a close relative?
Could you read that again?
Yes. It's been said, an apple doesn't fall far from the tree. It's typically a negative when they say that. However, but can you share of a positive outcome that developed from your offspring or a close relative or friend? Mm-hmm. So like a clone from you, Jean, or something like that.
Thank you, Mr. Table Topics Master and fellow Toastmasters. In this apple falling from the tree scenario, I'm going to make myself the apple, and I'm going to make my mom the tree, and I'm going to say that apple falling from that tree is a very positive result. I'll tell you why. I've been working a lot with my mom here the last couple days. She is 90, and I am working with her on some issues. But I just want to say that I've always been very proud that I am my mother's daughter. My mother is very smart. She graduated at the top of her class from the Air Force Officer Academy in Colorado Springs. That was 165 very competitive male and female officers. My mom finished first academically and got to sit up on the dais during the graduation exercises. Very high honor. She also is a bronze lifetime bridge master. It's a life master. It's not really important to her, and she didn't really keep track of all the points and everything that they do now, but she very, very smart in terms of her bridge playing. And by the way, that aspect of my falling from her tree did not take, because I do not play bridge. However, I have often pointed out to people, humbly speaking, but trying to make the point that it's known that intelligence passes through the mother. And because my mother is so brilliant, you know, the apple doesn't fall very far from the tree. Thank you.
All right, who would like to go next?
Do we have time for more?
Yeah.
You have time for more?
Yes,
So,
I think one more.
Jyoti Raj.
Okay, I'll see.
All right,
Yeah.
here
Okay.
we go.
Give me the simplest one.
Simplest one. That's why I figured that.
No.
With Bob, none of them are simple.
None of it's
Make it,
Yeah, right.
yeah, these are not easy.
Take this through. Okay. I'll give it to you. Typically, there's three things to grow a seed. You need the ground, you need water, and you need sunlight. If you want more peace of mind, what three ingredients do you need to produce peace?
Perfect for Jyoti. Yeah. Yep.
Fellow Toastmasters, guests, and viewers at home. Three things you need to produce the peace of your mind. Actually, I would say there is no thing is there which produces your peace of mind. Peace of mind is not a state of mind. Peace of mind is to be as you are. So to be as you are, what do you need? To be as you are, you need just one ingredient, and that's you. To make it more simple, I would say you will achieve the peace of mind just by being yourself. When you are just yourself, you are not worried about anything. And that's where you are just in peace. But as the seed requires water and the land, likewise, to maintain your peace in your mind, you need to be away from this, I'll say, whatever going outside. One of the main thing is you should avoid these newspapers, news medias, and about what other people are saying and what other people are talking. So you need to use your own judgment without any bias, and that's just what you require to be in peace. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have time for another fascinating question, or are we going to move on?
I think we need to move on.
Yep.
According to the agenda, we should go to table topics evaluator.
Right.
We should vote, though.
First, we should vote. Yes.
And before we vote,
I'm just gonna tell that all the speakers qualified: Art, Jean, and Jody.
Did qualify or didn't qualify?
Everyone qualified.
Okay.
So Jyoti, what we do now is we private message in the chat our vote to the Toastmaster, who's Carmen today.
So Art has two evaluations, unless he wants to evaluate himself.
So it's easy to evaluate myself. I wandered around in a thicket of 4 topics and didn't settle down on any of them. On the other hand, Jean took the analogy of the apple falling not far from the tree and told a personal story of her brilliant mother and the degree to which her own interests and capabilities are those of her brilliant mom, with the exception of the bridge playing, and possibly with other exceptions that she didn't mention. I would say this little talk could be expanded into a talk that would include talking about ways in which she didn't fall directly under the branch, but moved away to one side or the other and fell at a little distance from the branch that it grew on. That would make the talk even more interesting. Jyoti Raj on his talk took the 3 ingredients that a seed needs for growth, analogy, and told us the one thing that is necessary as an ingredient to achieve peace of mind, that being cutting off the perturbations of news reports, opinions from other people. If I could improve this little talk, I would suggest finding 3 ingredients for achieving peace of mind rather than just one. Other than that, it was a great talk, and it was a direct answer to the question. Back to you, Mr. General Evaluator.
Thank you, Art. Now I'd like to move on to our report section of the meeting, starting with our timers report given to us by our timer for tonight is Carmen Antacona. Take it away, Carmen.
Your video looks frozen.
Carmen?
Yes,
No,
this
she's
is for
moving.
feedback. Oh. Sorry. There we go. Okay. Art, 1 minute 57. Dan, 1 minute 34. Aaron, 2 minutes 19. Yoti, 1 minute 10. Bob, 1 minute 59. Jean, 2 minutes 20. And me, 1 minute 15. For the table topics, Art, 2 minutes 27. Jean, 2 minutes 11. Jyoti, 2 minutes 09. And for the evaluator, Art, 2 minutes 17. That's my report.
Thank you, Carmen. Next, we will hear from our grammarian for her report, and that would be Jean Symington Craig. Thank you, Jean.
You. First, the word of the day. We got some usage with ingratiate. We had Dan using it once. We had Bob using it once. We had Art using it once. And I used it once. Did anybody else use it? It felt like I got a lot of usage. But I'm just maybe saying that to ingratiate myself to all the members too. In terms of some usages that I liked Art's statement when he was evaluating our finalist, willingness to show transparency and her own shortcomings. Big words, transparency and shortcomings. I like that. Dan said gestures made me cringe. That's a good word. Aaron said a tonal shift. I like that phrase. Jyoti used the word awkward gestures. I think Art said something when he was talking about the deer and the sanctuary. He said something about sanctuary, but then he started talking and I was writing and I lost the thing. But it was at the end of his speech. I liked it. Bob, I didn't have any for you, except for, you know, I was too busy trying to wrangle my way through your table topics questions. Yeah, very philosophical in certain ways. All right, and that is, I didn't hear any particularly bad or grammar usage that needed to be corrected. So that's my report. Thank you, Mr. General Evaluator.
Thank you, Jean. Next, we will hear from our counselor, Dan Craig. Take it away, Dan.
Mr. General Evaluator, fellow Toastmasters, here's the report of our filler words. For Aaron, I counted 3 repeats. Jyoti had a couple of uhs and a repeat. Bob had a false start. Carmen had 2 ahs, 1 1 so. Jean had 1 ah, 1 and 1 false start. And then she had an interesting mix of custom filler words. She had a you know, she had an I mean, and she also said like that. So she gets the Creativity and Filler Words Award for the evening.
That.
Art, I didn't find anything. I think you were clean. That's my report.
Did that to ingratiate himself to me.
He definitely wasn't trying to ingratiate himself with me.
As I'll hear later.
Yeah.
All right, thank you, Dan. Next, we will hear from our joke master for a quick joke, and that is Jean Symington Craig.
Thank you, Mr. General Evaluator. I just quit my job as an organ harvester. I just couldn't do it anymore. It was too disheartening. And in the same vein, I can't believe I got a life sentence for a little insider trading. Technically, it's called organ harvesting, but that's just semantics.
What have you been reading?
What did the corn farmer say after he had a particularly good harvest? There's polenta more where that came from. Polenta. Okay. Okay. And then finally, I started a company harvesting moisture from plants. Business hasn't been so great, but we're making do. D-E-W.
Oh.
And those are my jokes.
Can you explain the polenta one?
Well, so you know what polenta is?
No.
Okay, well that's the problem.
It's cornmeal.
Oh, okay.
It's like you can put it put it in with egg and mush it into little patties and fry it and put you know, syrup or butter or whatever you want on it. So it's like that. Does
Okay.
does that make sense?
It does.
Okay. Okay.
Unfortunately, when you have to explain the joke, it doesn't become funny. But
I know. I know. But,
but
you know,
I learned something.
there's always somebody though in the group, you know.
Well, I don't think I was the only one that missed that one.
Oh, I wasn't watching the expressions. Now, the difference between polenta and grits would be something that would be worth discussing at some point.
I think grits are a little, well, to be well, for lack of a better term, I think grits are grittier.
But are they basically corn also? I mean, they're totally
Yeah,
Southern.
I
They're
believe that they are.
Yeah.
Polenta
So-
is more Italian.
Well, they're very Southern, because you have, when you're in the South, you always have grits and, you know, eggs and growing up, my dad, who fancied himself to be a Southerner, although he wasn't really, but anyway, so we would have grits and kippered herring for breakfast. Usually if I had somebody spending the night, they would excuse themselves and go home for breakfast rather than eat at our house for that reason. But all right, but we digress. What's next?
General evaluator, which would be me.
Mhm.
Thank you, fellow Toastmasters, our honored guests. We had one evaluator for tonight, Art, for table topics. Art, he started off at kind of a sudden start. I was starting to kind of lead the conversation towards figuring out the time because he only had 2 speakers. But he decided almost humorously to just jump right into his evaluation. So me as the general evaluator, I'm like, oh, okay, I got to start evaluating now. So I guess just be aware of making sure that that transition, everyone is aware of it, and making sure that we have all of our ducks in a row before we just jump right into it. But I don't know if you did that almost for humor. I'm not sure. But I thought it was funny that you had the humbleness to be able to evaluate yourself and realize maybe where you have some room for improvement, and that your answer to the question was a little meandering, and it, you know, leave it to Art to be able to talk about himself in such a humorous way like that and realize his own shortcomings. So we all appreciate that. He gave good praise for Jean on the organization of her speech, and it wasn't really a direct critique, but he gave a good comment that this table topic speech that Jean gave could be extended into an entire full-length prepared speech, which was great, just to maybe give Jean an idea for a speech that she could write in the future about how she's her mother's daughter and how the apple doesn't fall far from the tree in her case. With Jyoti, he gave a quick spot of praise for his valuable insight into mindfulness, and then he also gave a nice recommendation for him on picking, 3 different ways for good mindfulness. The only other thing that I'd like to say is, in this case, we only had 2 speakers. I don't think there was a lot for the audience to remember, but I always like a quick reminder of what each of the speakers talked about. And I think you did do that to an extent. I would maybe talk about like what the question was that they were asked, and then also maybe a bit more elaboration. I think given that there were only 2 speakers, maybe we could have gone a little more in depth on points that they did well, and maybe points that they could improve and expand on it a little bit, since we only have 2 speakers and it allows for more time. Just something to think about in the future. But overall, another excellent evaluation from Art, and we appreciate his insightfulness. Thank you very much, Art. And that's my report. At this time, I'd like to pass it on to our Toastmaster, Carmen Antacona, to talk about the meeting awards.
Yes, the meeting awards are here. Our best evaluator is art.
Yeah, oh, 2. He's got 2.
Oh, there you go. And our best table topics is Jean.
Maybe we should all keep a set of ribbons.
But I hand it over to our president, Aaron Russell.
Thank you very much, Madam Toastmaster. And thank all of you Toastmasters for another excellent meeting. And to our returning guest, Jyoti Raj. Jyoti, given that you've been absent, and actually this is your first time joining us virtually on Zoom, so I'm interested to hear your thoughts on this new meeting format and how it compares to our in-person meetings, and just your thoughts after being away from us for a little bit.
1 minute, 2 minutes.
Yeah, it was a good experience to be here. It's not like a real meeting how we meet in person. It's a little different. But yeah, somehow we made it. That's a big thing. That's the main thing. We are doing this meeting and it's always been good to be here. I'll join it soon and we'll see in person. Hope this COVID thing will get over soon and then we'll get together and have the big meeting as before. Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much for joining us again. I have really just one big announcement to make. I'm sure you know what it is. Dues. Dues are due at the end of this month. Art, did you get my check? I mailed it to you.
Ta-da!
Okay.
Did you get mine?
Not yet.
Not yet? Okay.
Did you
By
get
the way-
Dan's?
Why do I mail the check?
53 North Morgan Street.
Can you type it into the chat, Art?
I can do it quick if you want.
Yeah, would you, Jean?
Yeah.
So, okay. So who has everyone made plans for their dues? Whether it's mailing a check or however.
I need the dues checks by the date of the next Tuesday meeting in order to make it into international by the end of the month.
Okay. Bob, have you mailed your check in?
I have not.
Okay. Are you able to do that this week?
I will do it this evening.
All right. Thank you very much.
You're
Carmen, I didn't hear whether or not you had.
I mailed it yesterday.
Oh yeah, you're the one that asked after me. And then the Craigs, it sounds like you guys sent off yours.
We're committed to sending it.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to let the man of the household cover this responsibility.
Oh, honey. I don't want to be male privileged.
Yeah. Mail for the mail. That's what we're talking.
By the way, the due is same, $56 or it changed?
54.
54.
$9 a month for 6 months.
And Jyoti Raj already has his path, so he's all set there.
What path are you going to take, Jyoti Raj?
He's already on it. Are you innovative planning?
No, I think dynamic leadership.
Dynamic leadership. Okay. Well, so can I, even though if you're giving dues, technically can I give you a role next week and we can go ahead and put you in our, email and stuff like that? Or are you still organizing?
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can give me a role. Yeah.
Okay. But now the key part, are you gonna be here? I mean, you
Yeah.
said you had some things to arrange. Okay.
Yeah, it's been done. It's been done.
Oh, good. Okay, good. All right. Yay. So your son is 15 months, and how old is Vivian?
11 months.
11 months. Okay. Okay. All right. Did you have other things, Aaron?
I did not, unless others. Yes, Jean.
I just want to say that I was looking at the interviews on YouTube that we've all been doing. I haven't seen Carmen's yet. I think, Dan, one night I got, as usual, messing up my bedtime because I started watching some of the ones that were up there, and it was just so nice. I was sitting there, Bob was talking away, and I'm just like sitting there with this big grin on my face, at 11:30 at night. And
very genuine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we are missing something, and that is we need to have Aaron do some questions and have somebody else interview Aaron.
That was the whole point of me being the interviewer, was that I didn't have to do that.
Well, it meant that you got to practice and you got to see it.
Well, I nominate Jean to interview Aaron.
Uh-huh. Well, I don't know. Maybe what? Anyway, so
Someone.
can we do it that way? Aaron, do you want to do? I just think
I can't interview myself.
No. Can you record it? I could interview you if you wanted to record it. Can you record it and do what you've been doing? Whatever.
Sure. It's not very difficult. I can do that.
Okay. I don't know if I can do the fade to the thank you for your interest in Toastmasters. But seriously, you guys, if you go to YouTube and you type in Golden Speakers Toastmasters and you see these interviews, it's just such a trip. I just feel it made me so happy, to see them. And we have to get Jyoti Raj in there. Once he gets a little bit of the rust off, it's like he's had a break, and
yeah, we don't want to throw him into the fire right away.
Yeah. So Jyoti Raj, you can go look at YouTube too, Golden Speakers Toastmasters, and look at these, like we do these Zooms side by side. Aaron's the interviewer, and then, we've each taken turns and we answer 2 questions, and they're kind of like little infomercials that are being played on Fairfield Public Access Channel or the art, the First Friday's Art Walk. So we'll get you in on that one too, if you want. We all said we would do it. So, okay. All right, that's it. Just a plug for our videos. Back to you, Mr. President.
Thank you. Does anyone have anything else they'd like to add?
You can adjourn the meeting and then we can talk about my.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. I think with that, we will end it for tonight. Thank you, everyone, for another successful meeting, and we'll see you all next week.